Welcome back to the Everyday Saint podcast. Today we are here with Evan, and I am so pumped for this. If you know Evan, he has 240,000 subscribers on YouTube, has been literally all over the world sharing these incredible places that Christians have been, Catholics have been, like phenomenal moments of history you've been able to uncover and really just shed light on the beauty of the Catholic faith in such a fun but authentic way. So I'm really excited for you to be here. So welcome, Evan.
Hey, thanks for having me. Quick introduction is that I've been to every place the 12 apostles died, and I am a convert to Catholicism. I converted when I was 19 years old, even though my parents were very anti-Catholicism. And so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, with that, why don't you can you take us from the beginning, especially like with that introduction? Dang, and all that you've done, how did your faith journey start?
Yeah, so I grew up kind of culturally Christian. We go to Calvary Chapel. It's like a Protestant church where, they've got like a TED Talk and like contemporary music. And I remember around the pandemic, I tried to get deeper into my faith and, attend every Sunday, go to all the events. But I just couldn't help but feel that something was missing. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Now I know what it was missing, but at the time I had no idea. And I also remember being so confused walking down the street where you'd see a Baptist, Lutheran, Anglican, Orthodox, Catholic, Mormon church. They're all so different and they all look different. They disagree on maybe little issues, sometimes big issues. Some of them believe that baptism saves. Some of them believe that communion is literal, symbolic, and then a whole host of other disagreements. And I was like, they can't all be equally right. There's got to be one that's more right than the others. And I was also really fascinated by the Catholic Church and its claim of being the one true church started by Jesus Christ, where Peter was the first pope, and we have 200 popes since then that have continued that succession. I was like, that's a pretty crazy claim. And so I started to investigate it.
Yeah, so okay, so you grew up Christian. Was your faith important to you growing up? Or was that like all of a sudden your like curiosity started to spark and then like what sparks that, I
So
guess?
I never was like an atheist, but I also remember vividly being a freshman in high school. This is like pre-pandemic. And I remember like my friends would talk about abortion, or they talk about other issues. One of them even asked me, they wanted me to watch like really bad internet videos. I don't know how much. They were like, you should watch it. And I'm like, what? No. But also at the same time, I wasn't bold enough about my faith to really explain it and like defend myself properly. So I remember like just being in this crossroads where it was like, I knew that Jesus Christ rose again from the dead, but also I wasn't confident enough in my faith to really share it. And then that's why when the pandemic happened, I was like, I got to take this a lot more seriously. And it's crazy because I left the pandemic and I was not friends with those people because I was way too strong of a Christian. I couldn't be with them. They were bad. They were not good.
Well, so was it just like disagreements, or you were just like we're on such different wavelengths?
Well, moral disagreements were big. And that's not to say you can't be friends with people that are not Christian, but also they were just not good friends. It feels
Yeah,
like being a
yeah.
Christian, you actually find like true Christian friendship. And I never knew what that was. I never knew what that was with them. Where they'd gossip and they talk bad about other people, and it was like performative. And I remember like one time, like one of my friends, like he like cheated on one of our other friends, and I was just like, man, this is so broken. I think that's one of the best things about being a Christian and falling into a Christian community is that you actually find like authentic friendship, like people that don't just see you as someone that can help pass the time, or even just someone that you do shared interests with, like someone who cares about you like on an interpersonal level, where they're like, I'm praying for you, and they're like, they care about that. I don't know, it's been really cool to see.
Yeah, that's important. I think too, like as you start to take your faith more seriously, you start to see people differently. Not even like I notice that these people are not good people, but like you just start to see people with like the lens of God, right? And that's like people change. Like you see a light in them. Like you see goodness where other people will like turn away from that. And that's what the gospel calls us to. So it's like your whole worldview changes because people are such a big part of that. So it totally makes sense where it was like, it just isn't going to work, especially if you were like really, really on fire with your faith and starting to take it more seriously and look into it. So what did that, you said you tried to investigate the Catholic Church. What does that mean?
Man, it was every single question you can possibly have about the Catholic Church. I had it. Why do Catholics pray to saints? What's the deal with Mary? How come the priests can't get married? Why are we speaking Latin? What's the thing with the Eucharist? What's up with the Pope? You know, that sort of thing. And I just had those very like surface level questions. And I remember that I slowly but surely made my way through a lot of the questions, and I started to realize that Catholicism had a lot of great reasons for why they believe these things. And obviously, like, they don't believe, like, you know, like one thing I heard growing up was that like Catholics worship saints, you know, and then you like, yes, exactly, right? Well, I didn't know any Catholics. I didn't know any Catholics.
Right?
I knew no Catholics growing up. Even to this day, there's no practicing Catholics in my family, and I didn't know any until I was like a junior in high school. And so then basically it was just through the internet, people like Trent Horn, that I was able to have some of my questions answered to the point where I was like, this makes sense. I don't know if it is, you know, because I still had so many doubts. But eventually I was convinced enough to actually go to a Catholic church. And once again, I was like, this is very different. There's a lot of standing and sitting. But I also thought, and kneeling. And, but I was also like, this is really beautiful. And that was the spark. That was probably December of 2020 was the first time I went to Mass. And then went a couple more times, had some of my more questions answered. And I remember the midnight Mass that December. It was just the most beautiful experience ever. And that's when I knew I was like, I'm going to be Catholic.
Really?
I'm going to be Catholic, yeah.
In the Mass. That's really neat, especially because so often I feel like it's difficult to like get people to the Mass and feel like that's going to be a conversion experience for them. Just because we're like, well, there's so much to the Mass and like it can be so overwhelming. So it's really beautiful that your conversion really came about like first like head knowledge and then like the heart was the Mass. I'm curious, what was the most difficult question to grapple with when you were investigating the Catholic Church?
Man, it's crazy. Because now it's crazy. I'll explain why. But definitely Mary. Mary was one of the biggest things. I could get behind the Pope. I could get behind the Eucharist. But Mary, it just felt so different. Because it's like when you grow up in this non-denominational world, it's like they don't even think about Mary unless it's like the nativity story around Christmas. They never talk about her, never mentioned her. And that was a really big thing that I grappled with. Even when I was baptized and confirmed Catholic, I had never prayed like a rosary, like fully. And I remember I finally prayed the rosary, like probably a couple months after I've been baptized and confirmed. And I felt like this weight had been lifted off my back. And ever since then, I've had like the greatest devotion to Mary. I try to pray the rosary every single day. You know, my channel is consecrated to Mary. You know, the day when I met the Pope, whole other story.
Wait a minute.
It was me praying the rosary, and I heard from God that you'll get the chance to meet the Pope today.
What? Wait, which Pope?
Pope Leo.
Pope Leo?
Pope Leo.
You met Pope
yes.
Leo?
Yeah.
Met as in like you got to like shake his hand? Like,
and took a selfie with him, talked with him. Yeah. Delivered him a White Sox jersey.
What?
We got a crazy story to tell. Do you want to get into that?
I want to hear the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're shifting gears. We're jumping forward.
Yeah.
We're jumping
We'll go back
to a year ago.
I need to hear this story.
basically my channel was at a tipping point. I was making enough, but not enough to do it full time. And I'd been invited to the Digital Jubilee of Catholic content creators at the Vatican. So 1,000 influencers all over the world were to go here. And we had this theory that maybe we would meet the Pope. Yeah. And so basically, I bought a White Sox jersey, and I had this plan, because, he's from Chicago. So I was like, we're going to try to deliver him the jersey. Remember, first day, nothing happened. And it's the final day of the event. And we're like, if we're going to meet the Pope, it's going to be today. I remember that morning, I was praying the rosary. And I literally heard from God so profoundly, as loud and as clear as you speaking to me right now. Evan, if I give you this opportunity to meet the Pope, you must drop everything and follow me. And I was like, right. Sure, right, God. I agree. But yeah, that's going to be pretty crazy if that happens. But through a crazy set of circumstances, including the Pope, including me missing the Pope on the first time going around, I did meet him, deliver the jersey, took a selfie with him, talked with him. And the me delivering the White Sox jersey, the photo of it was posted on his Instagram page. And
what?
So yes.
No
so
way.
I remember.
You're on the Pope's Instagram?
Yes, literally. I remember later that day we were consecrating our channels to Mary. No joke. We finished the prayer. It's like a 30-minute long prayer. We finished the prayer. I checked my phone. My phone is blowing up. Non-stop notifications. And everyone's telling me that I've just been posted on the Pope's Instagram page. Like, I couldn't have that, I couldn't have scripted that. Like, that was nuts. And literally, so at the time, I was working at a job, and I had enrolled in college. So I was going to go to college. Because I was so inspired by it, and because I felt like God was encouraging me so much, I quit my job, dropped out of college, booked a one-way plane ticket to Israel, because I had this idea of filming Bible locations in real life, like the dream video, but I didn't know if it would work. I'm there in a foreign country. I'm scared. It was nuts. And that video got 2.7 million views. So that fueled the last crazy year, but it was all because of that, like, saying yes to God, and because of Mary. Right. That's what I'm saying. And
See, this is the God we serve. Is it not? Like, that's just insane.
Yes.
Like, all those confirmations along the way.
Yes.
Like, and we're scared to ask him big things. Like, look at it, and you didn't, I don't know, maybe you didn't even necessarily ask for that technically, but, like, yet, here you are with, like, this dream, and God sees that desire, and not only does he, like, fulfill that desire, but in this, like, totally crazy way that you could have never manufactured on your own. Mm-hmm. Wild.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I always like to say, if God leads you to it, he'll lead you through it. Mm-hmm. And that's been the motto the past year. All the crazy stuff I've done, I've taken a lot of risk, and I still do to this day. But it's because I trust in God, and I know that if he's calling me to do it, he's going to guide me through it.
Yeah, right. And he clearly is, like, giving you his mother as a guide, too, to, like, really help you get there.
There's another crazy story of Mary. It involves my mom and her possibly converting.
But yeah.
I feel like we need for the audience, you've got to
oh, man. Okay, put a pin in that and come back to it. Because, where we're at in this point, you've just been to Mass, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah. And decided that you were going to be Catholic in that moment.
Yeah, and it's interesting because my parents were very anti-Catholic. I remember, like, kind of at home, like, hey guys, like, thinking about Catholicism, what you guys think? Catholics worship demons. The Pope is the Antichrist. Why do you need to go to a Catholic church? What's missing at the Calvary Chapel? They don't really have the Holy Spirit, that sort of thing. Like, basically every objection you can think of, I heard it. And so I didn't have an incentive to be Catholic, really. In fact, I didn't have an incentive to be Catholic. All my friends were non-denominational Christian. You know, even to this day, although that might change, sneak peek, nobody in my family is a practicing Catholic. So I just felt like, you know, I'd rather be in the most boring Catholic church with no community, no friends, but have the Eucharist, have the truth, than be in the most hip, awesome, non-denominational church. And I did find friendships and community eventually, but it was very tough. It was very isolating. I mean, even, you know, 2 years later, when I went to OCIA and I was baptized and confirmed, my dad, he went to my baptism for 5 minutes and then he left because he said that they were doing a lot of weird rituals. And then my mom canceled 30 minutes before because she said more explicitly Catholics worship demons and she doesn't want to support that. So it was very rocky, very contentious. But yeah, you know, God led me to do it, and I don't regret it. I mean, every single day I grow in my love of being Catholic, you know? So yeah.
Wow, I want to commend you in that too, because that would be like heartbreaking to like have your parents have such like a strong stance against it, especially because it sounds like it's one thing when it's, you know you're making kind of a crazy decision and doing something, but you had spent all this time really like learning and trying to figure out what the truth is, and then coming to the mass, and like that's what you invited them to. So like a moment that was maybe helpful in your faith journey, for it to like not be helpful in that moment, I can imagine was really frustrating to go through.
Yeah, it was tough, but ultimately, you know, there comes a day in our lives where our parents, as much as they tried their best and we love them, but at the end of the day, you know, my parents aren't me. So I had to make my own decision, and so I did.
You said you had to get baptized and confirmed? Is
Yeah,
that right?
so that's the thing, is that I didn't even get baptized.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. I was like,
You know,
usually
it's so interesting because, you know, it's not even like we weren't Christian or that we didn't go to church. Like, we probably attended church like twice a month consistently for like 10 years. We'd go to VBS and we'd, you know, have all the goldfish that we wanted.
important thing.
Yeah, we went to church a lot, but never once got baptized, never was asked if I wanted to be baptized. It seemed that they kind of treated it with the same, and I don't want to strawman them because I don't know how they felt about it, but this is just how I perceive it. It seemed that they kind of viewed baptism as like the same level as like wearing a cross necklace. Like a symbol that is good, but not really required, and we're certainly not going to ask random people to do that. I mean, if they want to do it, sure. But now, as a Catholic, you know, 3 years in, I'm like horrified. I'm like looking at the Bible. I'm like, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven unless you are baptized. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? And that's what's so scary about Protestantism, and even like I'll go as far as like Orthodoxy and other apostolic traditions that aren't Catholic, is that like they have these contradictory beliefs and ambiguity regarding these very important issues. And that was one of the biggest draws of being in the Catholic Church, was to have like this list of like 100 issues and know exactly where the church stands, and it hasn't compromised and hasn't changed. That was very nice to see. Whereas like in Calvary Chapel, like I remember one of the last months I was there, they did two things that I didn't really like. One, they started inviting like political people to speak during church.
Oh.
Like literally people running for office, like in church. It's crazy. And then the second thing, regardless of whatever political aisle you are, you know, it's just like church is different from politics.
Right, like that's not
Yeah.
a stage
Yeah,
for them
yeah,
to
yeah.
be on. Really, like, you know, like it's,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. You
like,
understand.
That's not right.
You understand. And then the second thing was that they started having female deacons. And Calvary Chapel is a pretty conservative branch of evangelicalism. But I just couldn't help but, and there was like controversy when they started having female deacons. And I was just sort of thinking in my head, I was like, well, when does it end? You know, what if they decide to change their minds on this other issue? You know, like who has the authority to say that they can't do that? And then what's stopping them from just schisming or starting a new church? You know?
Right, totally.
Yeah, it was really scary.
Right, yeah, when there's no structure and it's like it's up to our own devices. Mm-hmm. Like that can't end well. Like that's always been something I've been curious about with Protestantism is like, how can you have trust in what you're saying? Because if it's like, if you disagree, someone can just go start a church somewhere else. And even if like, I've even seen like in non-denominational churches, at least my understanding of it is like they have elders of the church which kind of like make up the belief system of the church. So like they recognize there's some need for some sort of hierarchy. And I don't know if we would technically say like the Pope is like, you know, like, but that serves as a role. Like there's tradition there. There's 2,000 years of church teaching that does not adjust to the culture, but like recognizes what the culture is going through. Like we see that with Pope Leo, right? Like he's making these claims about AI, and it's not doctrine, but it's really helpful to help guide us as we navigate what the culture is doing, even though we have a church that's been around for over 2,000 years.
Yeah.
That's important to have that.
They're just in echo chambers. A lot of them are just in echo chambers where they've never met a Catholic, or if they have, they haven't been a very strong practicing Catholic. And then you're just in these echo chambers, and then it's just, they're, you know, the thing is that Jesus Christ and Christianity is so overflowing that you can get so much good fruits from even like the you know, if Christianity is this pie and you have like the tiny sliver, that's a lot still. So like they'll have like the Bible, and they'll have, you know, the contemporary music, and maybe they'll even have like healings or like gifts of the Holy Spirit. They have that, and they're like, this is enough. But they don't know about like the Eucharist, or they don't know about like the intercession of the saints. And if they do hear about those things, they'll write it off as like pagan worship or like idolatry, because they have this lens and they have this framework that it's so limited. I always feel like Protestants, and this is not all Protestants, of course, but I feel like they're, at least in the tradition I grew up in, they'll put God in this box. And I love Catholicism because it's like we just have the whole thing. You open up the box, you get, you know, Padre Pio, a Catholic saint who like literally bilocates, like he's in two places at once.
Insane.
Yeah, you get like Eucharistic miracles where literally you have blood like transforming like the you know, the host during mass. You know, you have 2,000 years of history, like all of these controversies that Protestants deal with today. Catholics are like, oh, we've dealt with that like 9 times already.
Yeah, right.
We haven't
And here's the
answered
answer.
everything. Yes.
Right. And it's important
Yes,
to
yes.
recognize that, not just as like we have the answer because we've been around for so long, but like if Catholicism is the one true church, we also then are like have the Holy Spirit in such a high capacity that's why we've been able to navigate those things. That it's not just like the Pope for the sake of having a Pope. There's been something here that's supernatural that's guiding us in all of this. That it's not just like, this is what's been passed down and that's what we practice. Like, no, there's like an extraordinary reality that we're facing in the Catholic Church because we are the one true church.
Yeah, it's what I'm saying is that it's funny, as I've gone more into Catholicism and on this journey, I always return to very simple arguments for Catholicism, like, it survived 2,000 years as an institution. Like, name any institution that's lasted for 2,000 years. Like, I recently just heard that concrete disintegrates after 400 years. In other words, that means that most American cities that we walk around and see every single day, they're going to be gone 400 years from now. You know, it's already happening in Detroit. Like, they're starting to, like, you know, have buildings fall apart and trees go under the basements and whatnot. Like, things will decay and disappear. Like, that is inevitable. But the Catholic Church has not. And even with all of these, controversies and different things, we're still around. We're still around. And I just think that speaks to the to the fact that God is with the Catholic Church, and he's on our side.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay, so you've been baptized, you've been confirmed. Then what happens after that? Like, is it just you're like totally on fire with your faith? Yeah, because I mean, I'm just even thinking like that was in 2020, you said?
2023.
2023.
When I was baptized and confirmed.
Yeah, okay, so 2023, that was 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now only 3 years later, and you're what, 21 years old? Is that right? You like at 21 doing all the things that you're doing now. I gotta know, how in the world?
What's the gap?
Yeah, in only 3 years to have gotten that far.
Well, the other thing that I did as well was that between high school and now is that I didn't go to college and just started making videos. Mm-hmm. So basically, when I was a senior in high school, I started making YouTube videos, and I loved making them so much to the point where I'd skip class making videos.
Really?
Yeah, I almost got expelled. I was not a good student. I was not a good student.
Funny.
I hated school though. It's useless. It's because I didn't go to I went to the required classes, and I didn't want to go to they just required you to go there, but you didn't need it for needed to graduate.
Sure.
So I hated going there. But yeah, basically I started making videos, and I didn't go to college. And, you're just a year into making videos and got 800 subscribers, top videos 200 views. Half of those are me refreshing it to see if it has more views.
What comments? Anyone like this?
Yeah, right. It was really brutal. I remember my mom, she even told me to quit.
Really?
And honestly, when you're a year in and that's all you got, and you're not going to college, and you work a job, but it's not some trade or something that's a super crazy good path, I think she was valid in saying that. I mean, any rational person probably would have quit in that moment, but I just believed in myself.
Yeah. What videos were you making at the time? Were they based on Catholicism?
It's funny. They were silly entertainment videos. They were I went to abandoned ghost towns and I ate In-N-Out for 50 hours, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so very different from what I make today.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's just so silly. But I loved making videos, and I loved the power of the internet to just make the world a better place. And I just continued it, and one thing leads to another, and I actually the tipping point really was when I got into a car crash, and so I was fine, other person was fine, cars were not fine. But I couldn't make those silly entertainment videos anymore. And but at the same time, I just love making videos. And so I remember I was at home and I started making Christian video essays. My first video was about Carlo Acutis. You can view it on my channel now. And then I made another video about teenage martyrs who died for Christ. And very quickly, I went from, so a year in of one channel, you've got 800 subscribers. With the Christian channel, within 1 month, I had 5,000 subscribers.
Wow, that's really fast growth, especially on YouTube.
Yeah.
I feel like a follow on Instagram is easy. It just comparing social media channels versus a subscriber on YouTube. You're investing in that person just because there's more time spent than if you're oh, I want to subscribe so I see what else they make. And then we'll actually sit down and watch something for at least 5 to 7 minutes, if not more.
Yeah, well, it's basically, it was so overwhelming. It was just God saying I want you to do this. And I've actually never shared this story publicly. But even around then, there's the clip. even around there, I still was when I finally got my car back, and things kind of felt like I was settled. I could go back. I was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna start making the entertainment videos again. And this Christian channel, I learned a lot, but probably won't be doing it anymore. I remember literally there was this nun who like reached out to me. She was no, she was a sister. She was a sister at a high school, so she was a teacher there, and she invited me to speak at the school. So this was like a Zoom. Yeah, so around 5,000 subscribers, she invited me, so I spoke at the school. Went really well. It was over Zoom. Really, really cool. And I remember afterwards, she's like, man, great talk, amazing, kids loved it. I was like, yeah, I loved it. It was awesome. Thank you for inviting me. She's like, I see you have the entertainment channel and the Christian channel. I'm like, yep. She's like, I think you should do the Christian channel only. I think that God will bless your efforts and you will lead many people to Christ. And I was like, oh my goodness, what the heck? Like, we got Mother Teresa speaking right now.
Right.
And literally, because of that, I like really put away the entertainment videos, and I started making the going all in on the Christian videos. And it's funny because it's like that desire, and I don't think I necessarily had like fully selfish desires, but God actually took them and he purified them even more, because now I make really fun videos. You know what I mean? Like, we have a lot of fun.
Right.
So it's like he channeled that and he made it even greater. You know, like 3 years ago, I could have never fathomed like a video like I went to every place 12 apostles died, or like, going to every Christian denomination church. Like, it just never would have registered in my brain that that was even remotely possible. Or going to Israel multiple times, or going to India. Like, it just never would have registered as possible. But that's the thing about God, is that like when you're on this journey of being a Christian and you follow him, it's the greatest adventure in romance ever, you know? Mm-hmm. And you just gotta stick at it. And it brings me so much joy, because, you know, even now, like I can't wait a year from now to look back and be like, man, you had even more cool, crazy adventures, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's like a wild life that God leads us on, like, truly, you know, like, and sometimes we're so unfazed by it. And I mean, maybe it's easy in the careers that we have to like see this like extraordinary adventure, but there's like, when you trust God with that, like you quitting your job and like foregoing all these like good concrete plans to follow this, like that's huge. Like, you know, faith of a mustard seed moves mountains, and like those are really good examples of being able to actually see that lived out. I'm curious too, you just like explained this whole story of how you started getting into Christian content. Was that scary for you to like make that jump and say like, that is the only content that I'm going to do? Like, was there any fear of judgment from other people, fear if it was going to even work out in the first place, especially with such a niche then group of people that you're speaking to?
Yes, I think that's what it was as well. There was a couple of levels to it. One, I think just generally being scared of being like the cringe Christian. You know,
yeah.
I went to public schools. Like, you know, you don't want to be. I always associated, like, unfortunately, Christians of like homeschooled, like kind of dorky, like not really that cool. And so that was a fear. Was like, I don't want to be cringe. The second fear was just financially. Like, I didn't really know how you would make money making Christian videos. The third fear was just like views. Like, I didn't know if there was views in the niche, you know? But it's interesting. And I think the final one was just a fear of just not having fun adventures. I think I was scared of being kind of trapped. I didn't want to be trapped. Because while it is an exciting job, I just have I'm such a thrill seeker. I just love going on adventures. And it's so funny because just by me trusting in God, you know, he all of those fears I had were completely vanquished, and he took all of them and he made them 1,000 times stronger than I could have imagined, you know? And it was just literally just, you know, one of my favorite Bible verses is Ephesians 3:20, which is that God has blessings for you that you can neither pray for nor imagine. You know? And that's sort of been the gist of the whole thing, is that I've just been so so joyful to experience it all. And my mission really, as I understand it now, is just showing the beauty of of Christianity across the world. You know, to be able to go to Ethiopia and show like this church built on the top of a mountain where mothers will get their babies baptized, or going to Mexico City and showing, you know, the world's most famous Christian pilgrimage. It's the most 20 million people go there. 12 million people go to the Vatican. It's the most famous Christian pilgrimage site in the world, in Mexico City.
Is that
Our Lady of Guadalupe? Yeah.
That's what.
You know, or going to London and seeing like, you know, St. Paul's Cathedral, and like they survived. Like the whole city was decimated because of World War II, but the cathedral survived it through like the grace of God. Like to be able to show that on one channel is just so beautiful, and it gives me so much like I get so on fire for it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that because you point on not only like education, but as you like in conversations we've had and conversations you like things you've brought up in this conversation even is like this idea of having fun while doing it and making something that's entertaining and fun to watch. Like that the Catholic life, the Christian life is not one that's just boring and that we float around our houses in prayer all day. Like we pray all day, yes, but like it's something that's exciting. Like life with God is exciting because you know Christ came to offer life and life in abundance, and like man, here we are, we have this life ahead of us, and I'd love to know with all these places that you've been, especially because you make content so much for other people, but I want to know what has been the most formational travel experience, pilgrimage you've done for your spirituality.
There's a lot of ways to answer this.
Everything.
Well, there's three main like highlights, but you learn so much. I mean, what I love about my videos is that like I feel like I really catechize myself, because to be able to explain it simply to millions of people, you have to understand it deeply yourself. So that's been so awesome. But I think there's three main moments. The first was when I went to Israel for the first time and going to like walking in the footsteps of Jesus, just seeing the Bible come to life. You know, I didn't really understand like what the upper room was, or like Capernaum and all of that. Like, and then you actually see and you're like, oh my gosh, these are cities. Like when they were at the upper room with the Last Supper, and then he goes to the Garden of Gethsemane, they walk through this valley literally called the Valley of Death. Like even today, it is this barren wasteland that he walks through. And it's just that makes it so much more real. And so then whenever I'm praying my rosary, reading my Bible, I picture all the places in my mind. It's been like so amazing. They actually used to have, this is like a quick like fun fact, they used to actually have it as a penance for you to go on pilgrimage to like Rome or Israel. So I think there's something to that, like how important it is for a Christian to be able to experience that. I think that the second big moment was, you know, taking my mom to Our Lady of Guadalupe. So,
shoot.
Yes.
So you brought her to a Marian pilgrimage.
So it's so funny because my mom, she's Mexican, so I'm 50% Mexican. And, you know, I was like, you know what, Mom? Like, we're just going to go on an adventure. It's all me. We're just going to have some fun. And she was like so down. And this is all the context of like, you know, she's kind of anti-Catholic, but, you know, she has some questions and she's, you know, I answer them. But by now, like, this was like 4 months ago. No, like 3 months ago. We've stopped talking about Catholicism because it got so argumentative. And it's really frustrating, like, especially when I lived with her, because I used to live in Vegas with her. You know, every single day, like, you just fight. It's like 2 to 3 hours a day, like, you know, what about this Bible verse? And what about this? And it's just like, it was brutal. So we just stopped talking about it. But, you know, time heals everything. And so we got better. And then we have a great relationship. And so I invited her to this. And we went there, and she was transformed by the experience. Utterly transformed. She was blown away by it. Have you been to Our Lady of Guadalupe?
No, I haven't. Marian I've been to is in Wisconsin, Our Lady of Champion,
Nice.
Our Lady of Lourdes, and then Our Lady of Medjugorje.
Oh, So cool. You got to go to Mexico City one day.
I do.
Basically, Mexico City is this dangerous place. It's actually the biggest city in North America. So it's bigger than New York City. Yeah.
Whoa, I had no idea.
It's this very dirty, scary city. Beautiful, great people, but it is a lot. And then you've got, the shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and it's like this Garden of Eden in the city. You've got all these flowers and plants, and it smells amazing, and people there are so nice. And we were just transformed by it. My mom, when she saw the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, she said that it felt innocent and so pure. And she was just, we were standing there. This was the most shocking thing, was that we saw this man who didn't have feet. He had limbs. He was crawling to see the image. Crawling. That level of love was so incredible for her to see. And it made her question, what if it's all true? And so the past month and a half, she's been attending Mass every single week.
Oh my gosh! That's amazing. Especially because, it sounds like, too, you guys were having these arguments. It's not even just arguments for the sake of, oh, I see the world differently. Clearly her faith is also quite important to her. That she, sought out these conversations with you and had things to, combat them with, right? So for her to, then come on this pilgrimage with you and, be any semblance of open to it, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's just, it's the same experience that when she appeared there to the natives 500 years ago, where you had this pagan idolatrous culture where they literally sacrificed humans at the top of the temples. And the Catholic missionaries there, they were there for 70 years. They'd only converted and baptized a couple thousand people. And then the image appeared and Mary appeared, and it led to the conversion of 10 million natives within a couple of decades. The largest conversion event in history. It is scripted historical facts. And that's what Mary does, is that she appeared as the mestizos, as the natives, and touched their hearts, and same thing happened to my mom. That's the thing, is that it's been years and years of prayer and fasting and just surrender. And I honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, I wasn't trying to, play some trick and get her to convert or whatever. I was I just want to bring my mom to have fun because I hate traveling by myself. And that was the results. That was the happy results. And so, yeah, still pray for everybody who's watching. But yeah, it seems to be going well. And she started taking my siblings, and my siblings are very open to it as well. So
that's amazing.
It's crazy. It seems like my whole family might convert.
Right. Well, okay, and I just kind of had this thought too, your channel is doing so much good by itself, already, right? But I just think the God that we serve, he would have done all of this just for your mom to convert.
Yes.
All of your success, everything.
Yes.
He would have done it all over and over again. Just for the sake of your mom converting.
That's what I was thinking about. That's what I was thinking about a lot was, I know this because I just had a conversation of someone, they were pulling up the analytics. So my videos have reached 78 million people. And probably the most important person to reach was my mom. And it makes you think also, how many people out there have also been touched by the videos as well that I don't even know about, And, yeah, it's very, very, very touching, but it's a total surrender. And I think that's been what I've been thinking about more on this walk of a Christian, is that how do you let go and let God, which is easier said than done. There's levels to it. But that's where, the third travel experience that really changed my life most dramatically,
too, yeah.
which was when I was stuck in an active war situation in Dubai. So 4 months ago, I was traveling to Israel to film a video there, and there were tensions in the Middle East that were starting to get stronger, but I talked to my friends in Israel, and then I talked to a couple of other people, and they said, yeah, you can go. There's a risk, but you can go. And so, you know, basically, when you go from New York to Israel, because I had a layover in New York, it's like a 14-hour nonstop flight, and I didn't have internet on there because sometimes flights just lose internet, just like the worst thing ever. But it lost connection. Also, I was battling a sickness, so I didn't get any sleep. So basically, I was just like fading in and out of consciousness on this flight to go to Israel. Remember, I get to Israel, and I'm like, oh, I'm so destroyed. I'm going to go to my hotel in Jerusalem, because from Tel Aviv, which is the airport, to Jerusalem, it's about an hour drive. So like, I'm going to get a taxi, go there, sleep, not think about this, not check anything. I'm just going to go to sleep. My phone is blowing up. They're saying, evacuate Israel immediately. I'm like, can I do it tomorrow? I'm really tired.
You're like,
I'm running on no hours of sleep. They're like, no, now, leave immediately. Next flight. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I check the news, and the U.S. Embassy is demanding that American citizens leave immediately. Like, they don't ever do that. So mind you, no hours of sleep. I'm sick. I'm stressed out. Whatever. I'm in the Israel airport. I booked the next flight to Dubai. So I just got on the first available flight. I couldn't go to Europe. I couldn't go back to America. The only thing available is to Dubai. So it's like 3 a.m. I hop on a flight, go to Dubai. And then now I'm in Dubai. It's like 6 a.m. And this is like, I'm like 30 hours awake. What happens is that at 6 a.m., Israel attacks Iran, and Iran attacks Israel, and the entire country is on lockdown. So that means basically that if I was in Israel for another 6 hours, I would have been stuck in Israel in the middle of the war. But then I'm in Dubai. I'm like, okay, I book a flight to Rome. I'm going to go from Rome back to America. Here's what happens. Iran attacks Dubai. And so you're at the airport, and you know how you see these screens of all these flights? Like, and Dubai is the biggest airport in the world. So they have like 20 screens. I see canceled, the whole thing. Hundreds of flights canceled. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be stuck in Dubai. I already am running on no sleep, okay? It's 6 p.m. Dubai time. Now I've been up for 45 hours, and I'm sick, and I'm stressed out, and I'm tired. I go to a hotel in Dubai because I'm like, I got to sleep. They bombed the airports. The terminal I was at, like literally where I was sitting, like seeing those screens go to red, they bombed that. Like people were like injured.
So if you had stayed there,
yes,
you would have been like stuck in that probably.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, now I really can't sleep because now I'm dealing with the adrenaline of like, okay, this isn't just like some abstract thing. No, this is real. Like the hotel 5 minutes away from me, it's like just been bombed. Like I hear like missiles. And eventually it's around like 5 a.m. Dubai time. So probably at this point I'm like 70 hours awake. I finally fall asleep. And I'm so sick, so tired, so exhausted. I keep on thinking maybe I'll get out, maybe I won't get out. 7 days go by. Finally get out of Dubai, and then make it back to America. But it was very stressful. Because they started to slowly let flights to get out. Because they just had to, because you just had all these tourists that were stuck in Dubai. It's the biggest airport in the world. Yeah. So you got all these tourists. So they started letting like limited flights out. But I remember like I was trying to go. I remember the first one. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Rome. Canceled. And I was like, okay, I'll go to India. Canceled. I was like, okay, I'll go to Bosnia. And then finally I get on that flight and we go to Bosnia. But that was like 7 days in. So I didn't really know what would happen, but I'm freaking out. I'm asking all of my friends and family to pray for me, all my followers. And the
Yeah.
prayers worked because here's the thing is that it's like, okay, imagine if my hotel would have been attacked. Imagine if the airport would have been more devastated. Imagine if, nuclear weapons were involved, you know?
Or even imagine like thinking about your whole sleep like issue. At this point, you were probably so desperate for sleep that's why you left the airport to go to this hotel.
Yeah.
Like I guess you like had you gotten better sleep maybe or been more hopeful, like you could have stayed at the airport, but then you could have been stuck in this bombing that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so crazy. It's so funny. When I was in Dubai, even though I was like 4 days in and I should have been recovered from jet lag, I still would like fall asleep at 7 a.m., wake up at 5 p.m. because I was so disoriented. It was easily the most stressful time period in my life. I still haven't been across the Atlantic, partially because I think that like I have like PTSD from like that whole experience.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Like the idea of like going to Israel or going to Dubai like scares me. Even though I know that it's irrational. I mean, there is tensions now. That's why I'm not going there now. But you know what I mean. It's like, it was brutal. It was really brutal.
Well, and I appreciate you sharing that too, because I think it would be really easy to look at what you're doing for your career and your job and be like, oh, Evan has like the coolest life ever. And just like God clearly has favorites and like has allowed him to have all these like really awesome experiences, which is true, right? Like we're very blessed. But then to like look at the other side of it too, and like no one's journey to sainthood was seamless. Like even when they were doing exactly what God wanted them to do, they faced significant difficulties. Like your life was at risk then. You were completely out of control of what was going to happen, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, well, it was such a blessing in disguise, I think overall, because from November to March, like March 5th, I literally had only been in my home in Dallas for like 10 days.
That's insane.
So I had been to like 15 countries. It was nuts. It was so crazy. And I think that my life revolved around the YouTube channel, and then proportionally God revolved around the YouTube channel, when, it should revolve around my life and my relationship with God. And so it felt like God was slapping me in the face, telling me I had made this like a false God, and like pursuit of so much success and getting so much imbalance. So then since being in Dallas the past 4 months, and yes, I have traveled, but it's a lot more intentional. I really do like even simple things like going to mass with like the same group of people, or like hosting Bible studies. Like in this very house, I'll host Bible studies, and it's like you only have those experiences and memories when you're like grounded in a certain time and place. And I realized how much I missed that. It's like through all the distraction, all the crazy adventures, I realized I numb myself from how much I realized I wanted that and valued that, And so then it's been really good to kind of get balance back since being here. And my relationship with God has greatly improved for sure. Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I would love to know, like, especially with all of these experiences that you've had and just like this, a word that's like been coming to mind in my prayer life recently is this like word reckless, and just like asking myself what it would look like if I recklessly loved God, like threw caution to the wind and just like full-fledged recklessly lived for God and just abandoned. I mean, there's like some prudence with that too, right? But like just like abandoned any thought of control that I had and just did what God wanted me to do, like what that would look like. And I feel like that's almost like you've like just taken these huge leaps of faith and really just like recklessly followed God's plan in like the best way. So I'd love to know, like, what advice do you have for people who are listening and want to pursue God's path, but maybe it seems kind of daunting?
Everyone has their own crosses to bear every single day and their own challenges that they face. And God never gives us anything more than we can handle. He knows we can handle it. And I think that as like a 21-year-old without, wife or kids, like I can go on these crazy adventures. But I remember like talking to a guy who, he was in his mid 30s and he hadn't gone to church in like 15 years. And he was like talking to me about like all the apologetics he had learned and, what he thought about like Protestant and Catholics. And I was like, bro, like go to church. He's like, well, I can't go to church because, my wife, she doesn't want to go to church. And I don't know, like, I don't want like people to think at work that like I'm weird. I'm like, bro, like, listen, this is your chance. Go to church. Like, start small. Like, we all have these own things, or it's like, I'll invite like my Protestant friends to mass, or I'll host Bible studies, or, I'll really try to focus more in mass and not like fall asleep.
Not be thinking of content ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. It's we all have our own process to bear and our own opportunities, and so I think that just recognizing that and just acting on faith and not, it doesn't have to be all grand and crazy big. It's like, holiness can also manifest in small ways as well. I think that's something that I've been keeping in mind a lot.
Yeah, most especially in small ways, I think. Like, he who is obedient in the small, like, much greater will be given to him. So we, like, see these big things, and it's like, sometimes it's just like, man, where are you at right now? Like, be really honest with yourself. I have a friend who she's a focus missionary, and this has just been something I've been thinking about more too, but to be scandalously honest with God. Like, just be so, so, so honest with him about how you're feeling about things, what, like, the life that you're living, paying attention to the way that you're talking to people, the way you're treating people, the way you're thinking about yourself, the way that you're talking about God, and like, to be courageous in that and to be honest, because only through that honesty can you then get to like learning more and more about really what God wants you to do.
Love that. Be honest. Humility. Humility. It's yeah, you gotta surrender. There's so many times where it's like I just gotta put myself out there and risk it, and it's like you just gotta, you know what, God's got me. God's got me.
Yeah. So what's next for you, Evan? As you like keep doing this.
Man, well, I'm gonna take a big break. I've been going too hard. I have a video with the Amish coming up. That was fun. It's so much fun.
Do you ever see those reels where it's like me as an adult man seeing the Amish? It's like, whoa, an Amish.
Yeah.
It always made me laugh. I was like, wait, that's kind of true. One time I was staying at, sorry, I didn't mean to like take
No, you're
but,
good.
Like, this is it's so random. But I was on a road. I was on my Shrine road trip.
Oh, yeah.
I was on my way back home. This was like the last night of travel that I had, and it started downpouring rain. Like, my parents are calling me. They're like, you need to pull over. You need to stop driving for the night. Like, it's like gonna get really, really bad. And so I just pull off on this random exit in the middle of Pennsylvania, probably in that area, maybe Indiana. I can't remember if I made it that far quite yet. And like, there's no even hotel really off the highway. So I end up like finding this little inn, and it's really late at night. I check in, I go to bed, I wake up the next morning, go downstairs. The entire place is all Amish people. Like, I just walked downstairs. It's like they're all in breakfast. I'm like still there in like my pajama pants, and they have like all like the hats and like the outfits. And I'm like, I was the only one who was not Amish in that entire building. I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I was like, I've just never experienced it. I was like, this is awesome.
They're so fun.
Funny.
Yeah, we got a video with the Amish, and then I'm planning a Europe adventure, but it's like, man, I don't know. I've been loving being in Dallas and just having good like friendships here and hanging out here. But we'll see. We'll see what God has in store.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, any last words of wisdom or just places where people can find you?
Yeah. You can find me, Evan Raugust. It's EVAN and then it's R and then August on YouTube and Instagram mainly. And then I think I feel like the Holy Spirit is calling me that if you haven't been to church in a long time, go to church. Get the sacraments. And, you know, just trust in God. He's got you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for
come
having
on.
me.
This has just been awesome to hear all your stories. I've loved every story, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Awesome.